picks up, if you're familiar with the story, this picks up right after the widow puts her last 2 copper coins into the coffer. You remember that story? And Jesus talks about how this woman has put in out of her poverty, but others have put out of their abundance. So they're still in that temple area. And it continues. When some were speaking about the temple, how it was adorned with beautiful stones and gifts dedicated to God, Jesus said, "As for these things that you see, the days will come when not one stone will be left upon another. All will be thrown down." They asked him, "Teacher, when will this be? And what will be the sign that this is about to take place?" And he said, "Beware that you are not led astray. For many will come in my name and say, 'I am he,' and 'the time is near.' Do not go after them. When you hear of wars and insurrections, do not be terrified, for these things must take place first, but the end will not follow immediately." Then he said to them, "Nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. There will be great earthquakes, and in various places famines and plagues, and there will be dreadful portents and great signs from heaven. But before all this occurs, they will arrest you and persecute you. They will hand you over to synagogues and prisons, and you will be brought before kings and governors because of my name. This will give you an opportunity to testify. So make up your minds not to prepare your defense in advance, for I give you words and wisdom that none of your opponents will be able to withstand or contradict. You will be betrayed even by parents and brothers, by relatives and friends, and they will put some of you to death. You will be hated by all because of my name, but not a hair of your head shall perish. By your endurance, you will gain your souls." I'm so excited about starting back to this great passage, aren't you? I'm so happy to see it, and I love all of those positive affirmations, the war for famines, right? Plagues, right? Who doesn't love a good plague? And on top of it, we all get to be persecuted, right? Some of us even put to death. I'm in, right? This is one of those passages in Luke, and see if you know what this is, an apocalyptic text, or does anybody know what those are? About eschatology, right? It's like later on, right? What's going to happen? The end times. We worry about the end times. We stress about the end times. We're taught to worry about history. It's the whole concept of why some of us were raised in a place where we needed salvation right away. So we're worried about what was going to happen to us when Jesus comes back. Well, today they're in the temple, and people, we don't know who, are looking at the great big stones. Now, this temple is the second temple. This temple is a huge temple. It is the center of culture for the town, the community, the whole area. This temple is unshakable. It has been adorned with stones, gems, and gifts dedicated to God. And they notice it. Like any tourist would. You would notice, look at the beautiful stained glass. And Jesus is saying, you know what? All of this is going to be torn down. Not just torn down, it will be violently torn down. This won't be God's violence. This will be human violence. We'll tear this down. And because of what the temple was made of, it wouldn't just be torn or disintegrated. These were explosive rocks. So this was going to be a violent teardown. All that was going to be left was a pile of rubble and a remnant of a wall. If you look at the front of your bulletin, you can see a remnant of that wall taken by one of our congregants at their last visit to Israel. That's called the Wailing Wall. People still visit it, still remember the temple, still pray. So here's Jesus telling them that everything that is the center of their culture, their security, something that they considered unshakable, is going to be destroyed. So they ask him a simple question, a question you and I would definitely ask. When? When is this going to happen? Because that's the big question, isn't it? It's not so much that we know the end is coming. That's okay, right? But we want to know when it's coming. We want to know, I have 200 years left. I'm good, right? But if it's happening next week, I have some things to get in order. So they ask Jesus, when? So Jesus says, doesn't tell them. He actually doesn't say when. He talks to them instead about their anxiety. They're laden with anxiety about when is this going to happen. Now, we need to take a step back, okay, and understand that Luke, the author of this gospel, is writing this after all of these things have taken place. By the time Luke is writing this memory of Jesus, all of this has happened. The temple was already destroyed. The people who Luke was writing to were facing persecution. They were already undergoing wars and rumors of wars and all of those things that were happening, so they could definitely relate to what was going on. So Jesus was making almost a prophecy. So when the people in that sanctuary that day and adorning those stones asked him when, he says, okay, look, I understand you're anxious. Here's what we're going to tell you. I'm going to tell you instead, and this is my paraphrase, how to handle your anxiety. First, don't get distracted. He says, beware that you are not led astray. Don't get distracted, because when you are anxious, what's the first thing that happens? You have that buzz. And see if anybody, you have that buzz in your head that kind of doesn't go away. Physical symptoms of anxiety, right? Your heart rushes, you get nervous, cold sweats, dry mouth, all of those things, and you don't think clearly. So Jesus says, first, right out, don't get distracted. And then Jesus starts talking about rumors. He says, you're going to hear rumors. Stay away from rumors. This is a huge thing that happens when we're anxious. We get into fear. Actually, all you have to do is turn on any news channel these days. Turn on the news. Fear. Push the fear out, and then all of a sudden, we hear a rumor about what is going to happen because of this event. Does this resonate with anybody? This happens on all levels. It happens on community levels. It happens in the family. It happens in the church. Something happens in the church. One little thing, one big thing, all of a sudden rumors start flying, yes? Not here. In general. And then, so Jesus saying, stay away from the rumors. So what's the first one? Don't get distracted. Don't ascribe to rumors. And then the third one says, don't look to others as a savior. There are plenty of people when we're in fear who all of a sudden come up to us and they tell us why they are the only one who can solve their problems. If you just vote for me, if you just follow me, if you read my book, if you look at my blog, follow me on Facebook, you'll understand. I have an enlightened point of view. No, you don't. We have a Savior. Amen? Amen. We don't need to look or follow anybody else. So Jesus is saying, watch out for those people, because as soon as you're in anxiety, those people will rise to the surface. I am here. I am me. Follow me. Don't do it. And then Jesus goes into this whole tirade of things that are going to happen. You're going to fear there'll be famines, there'll be plagues, there'll be wars. Yes, of course they will be. This is what happens when we live in a society that does not follow God. When we are not living in godly love with one another, yes, nations rise against nations. Yes, people are at each other's throats. They're cutthroat, they're competitive, they're not caring, they're self-involved, they're after their own security, things that can only maybe be found in some earthly structure that they feel is so important, it's worth saving. Jesus is saying, don't worry about these things. They will happen. This is not some cosmic sign. This is not the wrath of God. Katrina didn't happen because of the way New Orleans accepted people. Yes? The AIDS virus didn't happen because gay people were in sin. These are not cosmic signs. These are things that naturally happen. So Jesus is saying, expect them. Now the thing is, if they're going to happen, if we decide that we're going to live in a godly life, if we decide that we're going to live in love with one another, what is the next logical thing that's going to happen? And he says it right at the end. If we push back against the systems, against the powers and principalities that we talk about here all the time, if we push back in love and we start living Christ-like lives, what happens? Yes, we're going to get pushback. We're going to get resistance. And yeah, you better expect we might get arrested. There are people in this congregation fighting for social justice who have been arrested. Talk to them. Ask them what it's been like. This is what happens when you stand up for the poor and the oppressed and the marginalized, feeding the hungry and clothing the naked, as Pastor Jeff was saying. It shuts down systems that are benefiting and profiting from treating people less than. It's not all bad news. Okay? Actually, none of this was bad news. It was just kind of just saying, well, this is what you're going to expect. It's not bad news. At the end of this passage, Jesus starts talking about being able to be connected with Christ. And he does it through saying, don't worry about what you're going to say. If you get arrested, it ends up being a witness. If you get to talk before a judge, you get to witness for what Christ really stands for. They get to see, and the public gets to see, what is a godly life? What does it look like when you stand up for somebody who has no voice or give voice to something that needs it? This is important. So don't worry, right? Don't worry. Don't cast your cares on me. Don't worry. It's a tall order. How do we do it? By understanding that the Christ in us is in us, is always in us, is present in us, is present with us, always. The Christ in us is what equips us to be able to stand in front of people and talk. The Christ in us allows us to go to the corner and hand out blankets to the homeless people, or to go into a courtroom and stand up for someone who's being illegally detained. I talk about community all the time, right? Even now some people are rolling their eyes, oh, here she goes on community. This is what it's about. It's community. Because if I have a problem, if I get fearful, because I heard something on the news that has scared the heck out of me. You know what I'm going to do? First, I'm going to get anxious. But then, I'm going to call Dan. And I'm going to say, look, I just got scared. And Dan, hopefully, can be able to judge, or somebody can judge, is this a real fear? Can we talk this through? Sometimes naming our fears with one another helps us to be able to normalize it. Where is God in this? Where is the Spirit moving in this? And how can we better together look at this situation in a godly way? It's why God has us in community with each other. After this service, we're going to go downstairs. We're going to talk about all of these things. We're going to talk about a lot of things. Some of them will make you fearful. Some of them will make you happy. Some of them might make you anxious. The way that we can normalize our conversation is to remember, first and foremost, God has called us here. Christ is in our midst. We have nothing to fear because God has put us in this place together. Where we are, where we're going to go, the best we can pray for is that we are open listeners to God. Because what ministry God has called us to, God will also supply the resources for us to complete that ministry. All of the things that we will hear together, that's the optimal word, isn't it? Together. All of the things that we will hear together, we're going to figure out together, and we're going to talk about together, because that's who we are as First Baptist Church. Amen?
Amen.
As we go into this next time of just reflection, just for a few minutes, I'd like us to just think a minute about the person or people that we might, in this congregation, try to bounce our anxiety off. People that we might go to say, you know what, I am feeling a little bit nervous. And before the end of the day today, maybe you can contact them and just talk to them a little bit about it. Let's pray. Gracious God and great Redeemer, we don't know what the future holds. Thank you for having all things in your hand. Thank you for knowing all about us. That before even a thought in our heart or a fear in our presence comes, that you know it. Thank you for being involved in our lives so intimately. That you use even the darker parts of us, what we consider darker parts, in order to bring your news and your love to a hungry and thirsty world. Thank you for allowing us to come together as a community. We are enriched, we are edified, and we are equipped and empowered because of your Spirit among us. Help us to always rely on each other, keeping you in the forefront. Help us to see clearly for what you would have us do for the future. And no worries. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.